Good morning. This is Deborah Dubois, founder of An Empowered Woman and Homework. Homework is where you can live where you work where you live, anywhere in the world. So every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., we have coffee and conversations with some of the most successful women in business, entrepreneurs, professionals, all different types of topics and subjects. And it's something that we just actually share and talk about. Today, I like to present our speaker is Deshaun Booker, who is the CEO and founder of Maximize Your Magnificence. Good morning, Deshaun. How are you?
Morning, Desiree. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. That's a mouthful, but it's so powerful. Just those three words says a lot. So tell us, where did it come from? What are you doing? And how it's going to benefit us.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, thank you for allowing me on your platform. I certainly appreciate it, ladies. And everyone looks so great and good with this coffee and conversation. I mean, if this is what we look like in the morning or mid-afternoon, I'm in for it. I'm in for it. Everyone looks beautiful. So thank you for coming and joining me this morning on your platform. You know, maximizing your magnificence was nothing that I had even thought about. Although I've been, a speaker for over 20 years and worked with women, empowered women. I started working with women in shelters and in shelter homes. And I've always had a love for, empowering other people. And I started with the youth. I have a nonprofit as well. And so I started really just using my background in theater education and directing and writing to really bridge youth together of of different backgrounds and racial, backgrounds and ethnicities. And as a result, I began to then be called to speak to women and to motivate or, inspire women as a way of empowering them from whatever situation they were in. And so I was what you will call just sort of, and we've all started here, ladies, right? I was just tiptoeing in it, I was playing around like this is fun. Okay, this is good. They've asked me to come and speak or do a workshop or a session. And because I'm also an educator, a professor, I can put together a curriculum and put that, let that serve itself. But I started to really say, I don't want to just have a hobby. I really find that when I'm connecting to other like-minded women and women that are looking to be empowered or whatever on whatever level, it really brought me satisfaction to know that I can be that channel. I wasn't perfect because I also had my own situations, right? I lost several people in my life. I lost my mother, I lost my sister. Actually, my sister's birthday is today. Monica would be 52 today. My sister died in 93 of lupus. And when that happened, I said, well, maybe I need to go and, turn my sorrow and my grief into something, that can be testimonial. And I didn't do it right away. And so years passed, and again, I'm speaking, on certain levels and doing some trainings at some companies, and I just decided that this may be something I'm supposed to do. And I was sleeping and I was awakened. And God, I believe, said, get up and go write this down. He gave me Maximizing Your Magnificence. I thought that's a cute, catchy jingle. That's cute. And I thought it was cute for years, right? And then I started saying, oh, this is really something. This isn't just a jingle. This is a purpose. This is has purpose in it and behind it. And if I'm being honest, it scared me. It scared me, Desiree. I didn't want to step into that. I was like, okay, that was fun when I was sort of doing it, but now the commitment is there. And I began to let the commitment settle in. And I said, I surrendered. And I surrendered. I surrendered to, that calling. I had always been performance based. My life was based on, how things looked, how many numbers, were in the outcome, whether it was my, after school programs, how many students did I have, if when I was working in nonprofit, how many people did I serve, So I was very performance based minded. So I had to drop that and just really work from a place of love and wanting to connect with people for their benefit. And when I say people, it then narrowed down to women. And that's fun. And I said, I want to have fun in serving and supporting women who have like minds like myself, who want to reach their highest potential and who really want to go to their next level and their next level and their next level to where they're saying, this is my fulfilled desired life. And That's maximizing your magnificence. And no more jingle, no more jingle. It's really, a purpose. And so, ladies, sometimes we even when we get that first inkling or deposit of our businesses, it sounds fun and it's a hobby sort of or a passion. And we say, oh, this is really fun or cool. But then it becomes the business. And that's where we have to shift our mindset from, for me, it was just this jingle to now it was, when I would hear other people say, maximizing your magnificence, I go, oh, yeah, that's me. And I had to dig a little deeper to find what is that. And so I want to bring some of that to you today in what the magnificence formula looks like. So out of that, I have the magnificence formula. And I want to share a piece of that today, talking about the 5 success steps and how you leap. And I've declared 2021 and forward the year that we will leap, letting everything appear possible. LEAP, letting everything appear possible, even during my hot flashes that I'm having right now. And
Well, now we know that's possible.
it doesn't, there is no perfect, perfection. And so I had to let that mindset go away too. So I wanted to share with you what that looks like in terms of you and your professional and personal, goals. And how do we leap? How do we let everything appear possible? It's again, not a catchphrase, but really a part of your lifestyle. And so I've shifted what I do into becoming a lifestyle and visionary coach because I really do talk to my clients holistically. It's a lifestyle and I'm a visionary. And so I bring visions to life through, what your ideas are, what my ideas are. I'm my number one client, by the way. I am my first client. And so everything that I bring to you, I went through and experienced. It's not something that I copied or read, it really is from my experience. And Leap was actually a smaller portion of a bigger message that I had a couple of years ago. And so, of course, the pandemic hits, right? And we're all shifting and the word was pivot, but I was really just listening and being silent. I really like to work from a place where I'm organic and it's not mechanical. I'm not, creating something that fits robotically into, an equation. I'm just that person that's spiritually moved by what am I to do? How am I to do it? And I was just in silence and solitude during the pandemic, not trying to keep up with everyone was doing things, right? They were, really, trying not to miss this opportunity to do something during that downtime. But I wanted to be quiet. And I was looking over notes and I saw in my notebooks leap. And it was just a small part of a bigger message. And so I pulled that out and I began to really develop what does leap mean for me? Because if I'm saying it, am I doing it? Is it my lifestyle? And so leap means that we're leaping, we're going someplace. When we were younger, we did the hopscotch, we're leaping from one number to the next in the box. We were playing, we were skipping, we're jump roping, we're leaping. It's elevation. Well, women, I think we all want to be elevated, right? We want that optimum success in our lives. I know I do, and I did. So I said, what does leap mean to you, Deshawn? I already knew that it meant letting everything appear possible, but let's dive deeper. And so I said, I'm going to dive deeper. What does that mean? And there were 5 success steps, you know. And again, I pulled this from my magnificence formula. And the first one is changing your mindset. Everything for me is mindset because that's where we think and have our choices, right? I often say that our choices create our life stories. If you think back over your life is a combination, a result of the choices that we've made, good, bad, and different, healthy, unhealthy. We get a chance to begin again all the time. And so your life story is created by your choices, but your choices are created by your mindset. What are we thinking? And not that it's going to be perfect, but in terms of leaping, letting everything appear possible, I had narratives that I held on to. And I even have clients that show up with me and they have these stories, and I've had them. And ladies, we'll hold on to a story because we say it's my story. If the story even brings us unhealthy, behaviors and attitudes. It's our story. And so, what is the narrative that we're holding on to? What is the mindset? Do you have the mindset of scarcity and lack because we were brought up that way? I know I was brought up, and my parents were teachers, and so my dad, very logical man. He was, he's a mathematician. He's a, math teacher, and everything was very, methodical with my dad and logical. And so, although he was teaching that, sometimes it appeared to be scarcity. So there's no abundance in that. That's put your money in the bank, save your money. What are you spending that on? You don't need to buy a new jacket, a new coat, or take a vacation. We can vacation here at the house. And my mom was the opposite. She was, no, James, let's go on vacation. I work every day. Why can't I, give myself the luxuries of life? And so I was in the middle of that. And I had a mindset that was torn between luxury. Yeah, mom, I get that. But dad is saying that's not always logical. So your mindset will keep you held hostage. And isn't even the intention that we set out for, right? And so I had to change my narratives, ladies. If I was going to have a business, and Desiree knows, your business should be thriving. We shouldn't just say, oh, I'm just doing this and don't pay me, or just let's just have a humbling moment. Well, there's moments for that. Absolutely. That should be in your vision and your mission statement, that you have humility in the work that you do. But it also should bring you a profit, right? Revenue, streams of revenue. So I had to break that mindset if I was going to leap that. And I always hear my dad in my head, why are you buying that? Where is that going to go? You don't need that. Did you pay your bills first? Did you, are you working? Or my dad is just that man. And I had to also hear my mom say, you deserve it. You've worked a lot. You've laid down your infrastructure. You're fine. Treat yourself. It's okay. And then I heard her say, you can't take it with you.
Oh, hey, you can experience more with Groupon. Quality time in the great outdoors. Yep. Laughter-filled hang.
Well, there is one part of the body that will give away aging before any other. And in fact, this part of the body can make you look way older than you really are. It's not the face.
I think that's Janet. I think someone, oh, okay.
Yeah, Desiree, you can mute her.
I
You can
am.
mute
I
her.
am.
I did.
I am. I have a think that everybody knows, but go on. There we go.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that.
So I would hear my mother say, you can't take it with you. So when I began to think about leaping, I had to also change my narrative. What is my narrative? And I was holding on to just a little bit, but just that little bit will keep you in bondage. It will hold you hostage. So if we're talking about leaping, what is your stories, your narrative that you're playing in your head? What are you telling yourself? What is your conscious saying? And even if you believe that you're saying, no, I want these things, but what are you saying? What does that take? There's an image. I don't know if you ladies have seen this image. It's an image of an old lady, but within the old lady, there's a young lady. I don't know if you've seen that ever before. And it's about perception. What do we see first, right? Oh, thank you, Claudette. You've seen that. And it's an old lady. She looks really, old and like scary like, and, she has a long chin. But right in the midst of her face is the young lady. It's perception. Your mindset is how you see something, right? What do we see first, the old lady, the young lady, or even both? And so, what is our perception telling us in terms of leaping, taking the charge, right? Moving from lack and doubt to hope, being hopeful and abundance and seeing those possibilities. So, that's the first step in the leaping success system, is letting everything appear possible, changing the mindset. We have what I also call false protectors. Your mindset will create a false protector for you. It will appear that it's protecting you, but it's not. It's holding you back. Those stories that you think are protecting you so that you don't get hurt again, you don't have rejection. Those things are going to happen. They're normal. Those are our building blocks. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's truth, right? That we have building blocks. We're going to stumble. We're going to fall. We're going to fail. We're going to hear no. I mean, I've been there, right? I've heard no so many times that I thought I was on the wrong path. Like I must be chasing the absolute wrong thing, because the no's are bigger and outweighing my yeses. but I had to see that that was a false protector. I also call it the silent destroyer. It was destroying me. And I've had clients that say, you know, my story protects me, but it's also destroying me. And it's a false protector and the silent destroyer. So begin to release, write down the stories that you're holding on to that don't serve you anymore. Write them down. Ask yourself, why am I holding on to this narrative? Why am I believing this narrative works for me? First thing is mindset, ladies. And I know you've heard it. It's a word, you know, that is within self-development. It's in the entrepreneurial, you know, arena. And, you know, we talk about it often in our consciousness and being awareness, right? Mindset, but it's so powerful. I have to fight the power of the mind every single day. Every single day. And let me tell you, I'm going to just give you a little, because I'm always honest, if I'm being honest. Every single day that a negative thought come into my head, I say it out loud. I don't think it anymore. I say, no, 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 no. What are you thinking? Switch reels. I call it switching reels. I say, switch reels, Deshawn. Switch reels. Go to something else. If I got to think about new drapes, I think about new drapes, new bed linens. I think about something to get that negative story out of my head because it will take up residence. It will just take up residence. You will wake up in the morning and start having coffee with an old, ugly narrative. And it's just sitting there at the coffee table with you, having a cup of coffee or tea. And you're like, I don't want this. So think of something different. If I told myself, if I can entertain a negative thought, well, can I entertain a positive thought, a healthy thought? So switch reels. If we're going to leap in 2021 moving forward, ladies, we got to see what our mindset is. Where is it? Change that dial, right? Success step number 2 to leaping. If we're going to change our mindset, the next thing is we have to take risks. Oh boy, this may make us feel a little uncomfortable because who wants to stretch? Like and Frances says she's retiring, right? Today, she took the leap, right? She saw that she needed to take a risk because you can get comfortable and stay in your job. You can stay in your career. But something in Frances said it's time to see what's possible. She took the leap, and that's okay if I share that, Frances. I'm sorry, I'm just, but that was just amazing, right? that you are retiring. Do you know some people will not retire? They don't want to leap. They refuse to take the risk. And so if we're going to leap, we have to take the risk, even if you don't see what is before you. See, here's what I know for sure, ladies. You can write it down forever. I was that person. I had a business coach years ago, quick story. And I went to her and I was doing my nonprofit business plan. And I saw this woman a few times. And by the fourth time, she said, Deshawn, I'm going to stop seeing you now. And I said, what do you mean? She said, you're ready to take your business plan and make it really happen. Take the risk. I said, no, no, no. I like coming and being in your space and being comfortable. And let's keep tweaking my business plan. She said, there's no more to tweak. You're ready. So ladies, when we hear that we're ready for a new project, to start that new way of marketing, right? What Desiree's been coaching you on and all those new ideas that you're going, I have to take the leap, take the risk. I call it outrageous openness. And why is it outrageous? Because we should be outrageous about the things of our hearts, right? We should be outrageous about those things. So outrageous openness means that you're taking the risk. It doesn't mean you're not going to write it down and be reasonable. Yeah, of course, right? But we have to say, you know what? I'm stretching myself. Now I'm going to see the possibility when I don't even see it in reality. What am I creating? How many new clients can you book, right? How many new creative ways can you create? Success really is your ability to create. How do you create? On top of creating, on top of creating. So take that risk. You want to see those breakthroughs from your breakdowns. Deshawn, I'm having a breakdown. I understand. I too have breakdowns. Let's take a moment and be real with that breakdown. And now, how can I create the breakthrough? How can I create, not just what's the lesson, how can I create the active breakthrough through that breakdown? How can I do that? And I'm not saying it's going to take overnight. It may take a while. It may take a couple of days. It may take, a couple of weeks. But be compassionate to yourself like we are compassionate to others. Sometimes we're not as compassionate to others as we are to ourselves, right? And so, excuse me, we want to make sure that we create the breakthroughs from the breakdowns. Take the risk. Take the risk. See where you're stretching. I remember the first time I did a Facebook Live. Oh my goodness. And I'm a speaker and I have a theater background and I love all those things. But Deshaun, you're going to speak to people. You don't even know if they're there, right? Like you're just talking, right? And do you even know? Do they care? Did you invite them? No, they're showing up. I took the risk. And then I remember doing Periscope. Anybody remember Periscope? And I was like, am I really going to do Periscope? Like, because it was just a new platform, but I had to stretch myself. I had to stretch. And today, my goodness, I can't wait for the days during the week where I'm doing my marketing videos now. I'm like, oh, it's a marketing video day. It's a marketing video day. And so I've stretched. So it's okay that we stretch ourselves and take those risks and see those possibilities if we're going to leap. Ladies, your heart's desire deserves for you to leap in bounds, not just in theory, but in truth. You deserve to leap every single week of your existing life. Every single week, we should be leaping. Every single week. So we change our mindset. Get rid of that old narrative, right? Replace it with one that's healthy and that supports you. Take the risk, success step number 2, right? Take the risk, see the possibilities that are there and talk about them with others so that you feel comfortable, right? Get your support group. I gave myself 2 gifts a couple of years ago, and I love to share this because it's the truth. I gave myself 2 gifts and I didn't have to buy them. I didn't really have the money to do that, right? I was building my platform and my business and I was scared. And I gave myself 2 gifts. The first gift was that I said that I was going to always blow my own mind. Yeah. I said, Deshaun, I want you to blow your own mind. Don't wait for someone to tell you that that was awesome. You blow your own mind. And then the second gift that I gave myself was that I was never going to talk myself out of anything. I just wasn't going to do it. If I was talking myself out of something, that meant I was supposed to go ahead and give myself the green light and do it. If I was talking myself out of it, that meant I was supposed to say yes to this. And I was going to blow my own mind. I was taking a risk. Step number 3 to the success step of leaping is being an advocate for yourself. We got to get radical. In 2020, we saw so much happening all over our world, right? And in our own communities, in our backyards, in our neighborhoods of the civil unrest and, racial discrimination. And it's happening still. And we get very concerned about injustices, don't we? And we take a stance. A lot of us have seen civil unrest and gone through the civil rights movements. And we say no to to injustices, right? I have a nonprofit, right? That it's about tolerance and racial, balance and equality. And so we say no, but do we say no to the injustices of our own lives? Do we do that? Are you an advocate? Are you radical for your life, for your goals? Are you really saying yes to your yeses? And are you saying it's non-negotiable? Is it non-negotiable that you become the success that you desire to be? Is it non-negotiable? Is it optional that you become successful? Get radical for your dreams, your goals, your businesses. This is step number 3, that you become an advocate for yourself. Become an advocate for yourself. It's non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. This is what I call the game-changing power. When you are an advocate for yourself, I call it game-changing power. We hear the term game changer, but your game-changing power is when you become an advocate for yourself. And you have to say, I'm not going to just give up. I'm going to continue to recreate myself. I'm going to continue to redirect myself. I'm going to continue to reignite the fire, the flame that I have, because I'm now intentional. I'm intentional about the things that I desire to do. And I talked about breakdowns before, and breakdowns are going to happen, right? Because life conditions are always happening. They're just always happening. But I had to also change the way that I saw life. And I just want to share, life isn't happening to you, it's happening for us. Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for us. And I had to realize that. And I'll talk about that in just a moment, but I had to realize that. And so in realizing that, I said that I'm going to be an advocate for myself. So in leaping, what are you saying yes to? What are you now advocating for? What are you advocating for? Right? What does your picket sign say? What are you marching along for? What are you, saying? No justice, no peace. Yeah, but for you, what are you saying for your businesses? For you to create generational wealth. You have families. We have families, right? We want to see them thrive. So if we're saying yes to those things, we have to say no to scarcity, fear, worry, comparing ourselves to others. We have to, say no to those things that are going to keep you down. That's being what I am saying, an advocate for yourself. Roll your sleeves up, ladies, and let's just go for it and be an advocate for ourselves, and let's get radical. It's okay to get hey, getting radical for yourself is sexy. It's sexy, right? And so whatever your cap is gonna say, or your hat, your shirt, your blouse. I have blouses that say, got magnificence. Because I had to become my own, client. I had to be my own consumer. And so when I'm having a down day, I have to say, Deshawn, get radical for yourself. Go put on your shirt that says, got magnificence. And I have to remind myself that I'm magnificent. And you have to remind yourself that you're magnificent and that you're maximizing your lifestyle. So step number 3, right? Getting radical, being an advocate. Step number 4. Now we've heard, that we have some things in place. And this is where you all know this step number 4. You know it like the back of your hand. We all know it. And sometimes we become a little antsy around it because of the word. We know that we have to have goals. I said it, there's the word, right? And like, oh, goals mean I got to write something down. Goals mean I then have to map it out. Goals mean I got to really do it. I got to put the action steps to it. Oh my God, so many goals, we become overwhelmed. Well, I just changed the term a little bit to purpose planning. So step number 4 is purpose planning. If you make it your purpose in your planning, it doesn't appear to be so, in the way. It doesn't appear to be attacking you as a goal, but it's now your purpose. So if we're going to leap, what does your purpose planning look like? Write it down. What is your purpose? I call them purposes. Deshawn, what's your purpose? How many purposes do you want to accomplish for, in the next 6 months or the next 2 weeks or the next year? And then I attach my why to them. Why is this my purpose planning, right? Why is this my purpose? What is my benefit for it? Okay. How does that show up for me? So in your purpose planning, I want to just say this. We always write down our goals. I want you to do that. Then I want you to write down, what do you have to believe for that goal to really manifest? What beliefs do you have to have? Because I know for me, again, and some of my clients, we can write down the goals, but we're not having the right belief system. So when you have your goals, what do you have to believe? And then the next step for me, just another step that we need to take, what are the consequences if you do not achieve that goal? How does that show up for you? So if you have a phenomenal goal, right, and you want to launch a new product, you want to launch a new service, what do you have to believe to launch that new service? What do you have to believe? You have to believe that you are what? Powerful in your marketing. You have to believe that you have, powerful strategies to, convert new customers. See, that's a belief system so that you can have that new product, right? That new service. Now, what's the consequence if you don't achieve that goal? You haven't met your revenue sales. You haven't met your product sales. You feel sad. You don't feel like you're gaining momentum in your creativity. So those consequences need to be bigger than that fear. Our consequences need to outweigh the fears all the time. So when you're doing your purpose planning, make certain that you write down your goal. And why is that your goal? But I call it a purpose. Why is it, that is strong enough for you to pursue it? And then what do you have to believe? Now, here's what I do every day, every night. And I do this, I have them in my notebook. I just set them over there. I literally every night read my goals and I read my beliefs every single night. And I put my finger to it because now I'm just working on my neurological systems in my brain. And I want to change that so that it becomes my conscious and my subconscious thoughts, right? And so I really say them every day, every day. They're mine. I want to nurture them. I want to love on them, even when they're not showing up for me the right way, ladies, right? Even when I've had a hard day, I'm going to say those goals, those purposes anyway. I'm going to say my belief systems, and I'm going to look at my consequences to remind me that's where I don't want to go. I don't want to go there. And so if I'm going to leap, and I want all of us to leap, right? I want us to know that the purpose planning becomes our friend. And I used to get so overwhelmed. And that was one of the questions that I hear a lot from the clients, that I serve. How do I not get so overwhelmed, Deshaun? And jokingly, I say, well, how do we eat an elephant? One chunk at a time, right? And so take your purpose planning one step at a time. One step at a time, one step at a time. When we work for others and we had business meetings with our companies and we went into the boardrooms and there was a project that your company or organization was working on, right? Whether you were in the school system or you work for nonprofit or in corporate, when you showed up with those other team players at your offices and you all were working on, I know for me, when I was in a nonprofit and we had a project, everyone got a task. And then we came back, right, for the other meetings to see how we all did in our task, right? As we were approaching that project. Do the same thing for yourself. See yourself as in the room with the other board members, and your board members are just your action items. And come back to see where have you, accomplished with those goals. You don't have to do all the goals all the time, in the week or in 6 days or in 6 months. Again, compassion, right? Have compassion for yourself. So that purpose planning is your goals. But if I say purpose to myself, then it makes me feel more fuel, if you will. There's my fuel. My why is my fuel. Why, Deshaun, do you want to start the podcast? Do you want to start, the radio show? Why do you want to create, the Yummy Cafe? That's one of my programs I'm gonna start called the Yummy Cafe. YUMME, Yummy. And it's about women just showcasing projects that they have and where are they in that system, right, of developing it. So why do I want the Yummy Cafe? Why? So it's not a goal, it becomes a purpose. So attach that purpose to all of your goals, and then you'll find that you're at ease with it just a little bit more. Number 5, success step number 5. Remember, we're leaping all over the place, right? Well, I've been leaping a lot. And in 2015, I lost my mother. I lost my mother unexpectedly to a brain aneurysm. And my mother had surgery. During the surgery, my mother had multiple strokes. And as a result, she was left in that state for 6 months until my dad said, we can't go on with Joyce being in the state, Deshaun. She wouldn't want to live this way. We can't do it. Talk about the air leaving your whole body. When my mother, was finally laid to rest, a whole part of me went with her. Like, I'm her only daughter. I'm the oldest. She was my biggest fan. And I didn't want to leap anymore. I didn't want to talk to another woman. I didn't have anything to give another woman on this planet. I couldn't turn that breakdown into a breakthrough. I didn't care about my mindset. I didn't care. And so 2015 was hard. 2016 was harder. But you know what? Something happened, ladies, where I started hearing and feeling my passions again. I started wanting to talk to women, just connect, reconnect. I still had this fire and it was burning. And I was like, what is this? I shouldn't want to do anything. And that goes to tell you that your purpose is bigger than any breakdown, any loss. It really is. And I had to realize, number 5, that I had to be willing to bounce back. I want you to get that. We have to be willing to bounce back. We often hear resiliency, be resilient. No, I had to be willing to choose to allow my mother's life to be just what it was and now to inspire me in my own living. I had to allow that. I had to be willing to bounce back. And if we're going to leap, you're going to have breakdowns. Your life conditions are going to show up. They're going to come and rob you and take you out. My bonus mom just passed last year. I said, you mean I'm losing another mom to cancer? I had to be willing to bounce back. Ladies, it's the game changer. You have to say, am I willing to bounce back when I hear the no, when I don't see the numbers, when I don't see the clients coming in? I have to be willing to bounce back, right? When it doesn't look like there's no light at the tunnel, at the end of the tunnel. You have to say, I got to remember to reignite. You have to remember that you have a purpose and it's in your gut, it's in your belly. And how do you allow that to continue to revert? Go back to your why. What's your why? Why am I, in this lane? Why am I on fire for this particular purpose and this goal? And if you can honestly say that you're on purpose because it gives you fulfillment, it gives you joy, it gives you peace, then that's your willingness to bounce back. You gotta make the choice to bounce back. And it took me a minute. And thank goodness we're all here on the earth that I can still, get up and do what I love to do. Thank God I'm still alive and in my own right mind, right? And I've had health issues. I'm dealing with those today, but I'm willing to bounce back. Not because I'm trying to prove it to someone else, but because it's my heart's desire. And all of our heart's desires deserve for us to really allow ourselves to say, you know what? Let's give it another go tomorrow. Let's bounce back. Let's give it another try, right? We can have a pity party. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be quiet. My mother always told me, Deshawn, you can have a pity party for one day or maybe 1 week. She told me this, true story. She said, you can have a pity cake with pity candles and pity punch and a pity hat. Now, my mother told me that when I called her years ago and I was away at college and I was complaining about college. And my mother had me at 16 years old. Finished high school. She went to college, became a school teacher, was married. She said, Deshawn, if I can finish college and I had you, I was tugging you along in college. Don't you call me complaining about college. She said, I had a husband and had you. She said, don't you complain about college. She said, you can have a pity party for 1 week. You call me and your dad when you finish. And she hung up. So ladies, we can have a pity party. We can be in our lower level emotions, but let those higher level emotions of love and hope and abundance come forth too, because we deserve it. You deserve to maximize your magnificence. You deserve to leap at every heart's desire that you have. You deserve to stand in letting everything appear possible. We do. And I just hope that these were some diamonds for your destiny. That these are some nuggets for you. You know, I can talk on and on, but I'm closing it with that. And I just want to thank you for allowing me to share that. And I hope that it's been something that has been available to you as you're growing and expanding where you are in your awareness. Thank you for letting me share, Desiree. Thank you, beautiful maximizers.
Thank you. Thank you. And Deshaun, many times, some of the ladies may notice that I'll change it from ending at 10 to 10:30. And, but your presentation has been so thought-provoking that everyone that can stay, I'd love to hear your comments. I love to hear, I see some in the chat, but ladies, you know our format. Feel free to unmute yourself, be respectful of any background noise, and share something that you have gotten from this. I know one thing that I got that I put in my, I wrote down so I wouldn't forget, is a title, and it may be already out there. So I'm gonna do, as soon as we finish, I'll Google it and see, but Perfectly Imperfect.
Mm, yes,
Perfectly Imperfect.
yes.
I would like to, and I know that one of our ladies has something similar to that. LaShawn Wooten, I'm not sure what hers is, but I just like that. That's what I got out. Perfectly Imperfect. So
Yes.
who else? So share what else, ladies. I know there's a lot of things that you got from it. So let's share. Unmute yourself. Make sure you be conscious of your background
Yes,
noise.
this is Terry. I so enjoy you, Deshaun. I told you this when we talked on my podcast. I feel a very kindred spirit to you. We have a lot of similarities and things that you say. It speaks to my heart, speaks to my spirit. And I so look forward to continuing our friendship in the future.
Yes.
I find you very, very inspirational, and just your idea of your nonprofit. I have a very big heart for my working with the homeless, and your whole love of theater is my love of theater. Your love of teaching was my whole life of teaching. And I really love the idea of be willing to bounce back. And I have a number of friends that are now at the point of losing a parent or a spouse or even a child, and they're just not at that point of being willing to bounce back. So I know they have to have that time, but I love that idea of just you have to be willing to bounce back, and it
Yes.
just takes time. But I thank you so much. I love listening to you. Your
Thank
voice is very calming.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that willing to bounce back. I didn't always know it, you know, and I wasn't willing. I sat for a year and a half, ladies, watching reality TV when my mother passed. I was like this I said, I'm just gonna watch reality TV. I don't care. And do you know that I was getting messages through that? Like I was watching these women, Don, do these wonderful things. And I'm like, I should be doing that. I'm like, no, you're being sad. Be sad. I'm like, no, they have businesses. I'm like, you should be doing your business. I'm like, oh, but I'm sad, you know. So it started happening, that willingness to be, you know, available to resiliency. Yeah, thank you, Terry. I love you too. Thank you. I appreciate your kind words and so much. Oh my God, wait, Jennifer put up the woman, the image. You all see? That's the old, right? That's the old lady and the young lady that I was speaking to. That perception, you know.
I couldn't shrink it down so that you could get the whole picture. Sorry about that.
I can't see it. I can't see. I can't see it.
Oh,
If you share the screen, I get the picture up and I can show you the both of them. But I can't shrink it. I don't. Where I took the image, I can't shrink it so it can fit in.
Hold on, just hold on. The another thing too is that while I'm doing that is the fact that you have the willingness to bounce back. See, people say let's bounce back. You need to bounce back, and so forth. But it's not about bouncing back. It's being willing
absolutely.
to bounce back.
Well, Desiree, it's Janice. I'm really sorry. I drugged myself in from yoga and I got here late and my phone rang. In any event, I was really struck by point number 4, where you talked about the why and the benefit and the beliefs that you have behind a particular goal or purpose. I worked as a strategic planner for a corporation for many years, and I'd never heard that before, and the consequences for not doing it. It's just so easy to blow off. Okay, I didn't get this done. You can't do everything and be all things to all people, and you can tell yourself all sorts of things. But that one really struck me, and the idea of reciting every evening. So it's always in your consciousness, what it is that I'm focusing on and intend to accomplish and why it's important to me. So thank you for sharing that. That was really helpful.
Janice, you're so absolutely wonderful. Yes. And I just want to say the why thing. You said some things just now, restating what I gave and I was offering. The why becomes your fuel, because letdowns are always going to happen. Like we're in a fallen world. So we're always going to, our five senses are always stimulated by what we see, what we hear, what we can touch, right? Smell, taste. And those things are not always good and healthy. Oh, is this it? Oh, awesome. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to put a pin in that, Janice. So if you can see, ladies,
Do you want me to point it out, or can people see it?
I was going to point it out. You want me to point it out, or you going to point? You point it out, Janice. Janice, go ahead.
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Okay, so this is the young woman's chin right here. She's looking away from us. Her nose is this little dot here, and her eyelash is right here. And then the old woman, this is the old woman's chin right here. This is her nose.
Oh.
This is her one eye, and then that's her eyelash. And this is her mouth. The necklace of the young woman is the mouth of the old woman.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's a classic.
It's a classic. Yes. How many of you see both of them? Anybody see both?
Yeah.
This is something that I've been using since 1990 in my training when I train people.
Too.
So I'm really, I really like that it's still permanent in the world.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I've been using it as well. Yes. with my young people, and I transferred it. And it's such a good teaching tool, right, Claudette?
Yes. Deshawn, you and I have so much in common. I too have a not-for-profit. She's 33 years old. I've worked with all kinds of women who've escaped domestic violence, teen moms, just a whole lot, on every continent with the exception of Antarctica. And, how I translate what you were saying is so much with the law of mentalism, the law of vibration, how do we rewire our minds? But what I really loved about what you talked about was the becoming an observer of your thoughts, because that's what's really, your thoughts give rise to your actions. So every thought, there's a complete reaction. And when I can remember that, it's the more I do that. And like you, Deshawn, I do my nightly inventory, and then in the morning I do something else. So I just felt like, oh my God, this is the community of women that I need to be connected with, because this is my boardroom. You talked about each of my archetypes being a member of my boardroom, and I don't have to play in the head with each of my archetypes. I have you here, each of you. So thank you, Deshawn. And I would like to get more information about you and Terry. I'd like to connect with you. So if you could put it in a chat and tell me how to connect with you, I will appreciate it.
I sure will. I sure will, Claudette. And I appreciate that. Thank you. I certainly will. I want to just go back. Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing that, Jennifer. Yeah.
I haven't seen that. Thank you.
Yes,
What's it called? What's it called, Jennifer? What's it called?
It's the old and young woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just Google it.
Old and young woman, what?
When I Googled it, I just said old and young woman picture, and it brought up that picture.
That image. Yeah. And Claudette, you said you've been using it since 1990?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've seen it before. But it is, because I think a lot of what you say is our perceptive of an event. It can be positive or negative. And so I tend to go to negative quickly, and I'm working on, well, if there's a negative, there has to be a positive. What is the positive out of this? And so to me, a lot of it had to do with the whole Trump thing, so I'm working on so much more. For me, activism has come out of that, and me engaging and learning more about my country's history and politics and all that, which is positive. I mean, there's so much great stuff that is happening, So yeah, but also I like the what you said about every day having to have that discussion that it just doesn't go away. Because I'm like, okay, I know this stuff. So why am I still having these thoughts? Why am I still having, to stretch myself and do that? So hearing you say this, like, okay, I'm not alone in this. There's other people out there who do this and say this and having to stretch yourself and keep going. So thank you for sharing all that. I really, really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Jennifer, let me just say what you said for a moment. You said two things that got me all excited, right? I'm like doing like this. Jennifer just shared with us that she created a breakthrough from her breakdown. You just said that. You just said the whole Trump thing, and now what has happened with you, that's creating the breakthrough from the breakdown. And so I want you to remind yourself of that, like every day, right? When you're advocating and you're researching and searching, and you now have this expanded awareness of wanting to know more so that you can be better for yourself and others and whomever, how that looks for you. That's your breakthrough from that ugly breakdown, right? We have all these breakdowns. And so remind yourself, Jennifer, of that. When you have that ugly thought that, like I do those thoughts, say, no. I can create a breakthrough from this ugly thought right here. I can create a breakthrough from it.
Right.
And so I just wanted to, recognize that with you and hold that space for you, because that's amazing, that you turned that around and you're sharing that. And when we talk about perception, ladies, with the old lady and young lady, it's perception. So it's called the power of association. There's two ways that we see something. There's two ways, no matter what. We always see something as painful or pleasurable. That's it. If you're thinking right now about being on this Zoom with us, right, this is pleasurable for you. But if you thought about something that, usually, I'll ask the client, how was your childhood? How was your past relationships? And they're either painful or pleasurable. Even if we say it's in the middle, well, no, it's not in the middle, because that means there's some pain there. And pain and pleasure can't live in the same place. Okay. And so, perception has to do with the power of association. How do we associate a thought? How do we associate an experience? How do we associate a person? You've all been there. We can smell something and reminds us of grandma's cooking, mom's cooking. Or you can smell something and go, oh, no, he didn't. Remember that boy you was dating, Deshaun? That's that cologne he wore. Oh, don't think about that cologne. Oh, God, I can't. I'm all the way thinking about that, right? It's power of association. It's perception. So if you just believe that your why to your purpose planning is your fuel, going back to Janice, your why is your purpose. Why do I want this? That's the fuel. That's what keeps us going even during those breakdowns. But I'll be quiet. Anything else? Just wanted to.
Another thing that Jennifer brought again, it's very, really clear, is that if it's a negative thought, then you can immediately realize that there's got to be a positive. So okay, if I'm thinking negative about something, or if something negative happens, whether you're stuck in the elevator or whatever point, that could be conceived or perceived as a negative. But if you think of the positive, well, it didn't crash. I'm still alive. I can get out here and be able to immediately, anytime that comes, immediately be able to make that shift. And we used to be, a lot of people refer to it as cancel. When you hear that in your mind, to say cancel, and be able to switch it over. So whether it's a person, a place, incidents, whether it's our business, whether it's just, a day that we have that seems like maybe we didn't get that. I think women are really good about this. It's like all the things that we didn't get done today, and shifting that and saying, well, these are all the things I did get done today. It's not about how many things it is, it's the significance of the things that you did get done. Maybe you got something done that made a big difference in your business. So it's not how many things you can check off your list, how many things that you've done that you have had on your list, and now that's making a difference in your life or your business. So just really that mindset, because we talk a lot about, a lot of our classes and our programs about the functionality and the techniques and the technology that's used to build our businesses, but we need more. We have to realize that it starts here. This is the tool that we need to be working with, and we really need to be able to learn how to master it, because that is the difference. You can have all the techniques and technology in the world, but if you don't have it in the mind, it doesn't manifest.
That's right.
So
I was just going to say that I really liked the part in the number 4 with the asking yourself what your belief is around that, because for me, I could really relate to what you were saying about the money mindset, And I grew up, my dad was a teacher and a farmer, and he saved every nut and bolt. Like he'd find it on the side of the road on a walk or in the field, and he would save it. And I grew up with that background from his parents being immigrants. And then it just kind of goes through. But the whole money mindset that came with the way my parents operated, and then the way I have for so many years, because I'm not that young, and just changing the money mindset. And so when you have a purpose, it's like, oh, I'm going to make money. But then if your money mindset is well, the humility thing, oh, I should be doing this for free, or I should, I don't deserve this, or this isn't, then you really can't get past what you're working toward if you don't have the proper mindset for it. And so that's something that I've really worked on over the last while. So now when I look forward to getting a certain bill in the mail now, because I'm paying it off. And so it's every time I'm like, oh, but I can't, like, it's not due for another 3 weeks, but I'm looking for it in the mail. And so it's a whole shift. Instead of saying, oh no, I have this to pay and I got to do that. It's more of like, I'm waiting and waiting so I can pay it. So pay more because, as the money comes in. So it's a shift in money mindset. And that's happened over the last, I don't know, year, 6 months. And so I find that really impacted me, the what is your belief around this?
Yes. And I hear you say that, thank you for sharing, Don. I appreciate that and your honesty, because you've shifted from it being a painful experience and paying that bill to a pleasurable, right? See, that's a power of association. That's what, and because you have a why behind it, your fuel is, the goal is that, yes, I'm going to pay it down, but the consequence is financial freedom. It frees up some money for you to do something else. And so that is the fuel, that I'm not just paying this off. It gives me financial freedom. It makes me now allowed to put some, some funds in a different direction. I feel empowered because I've accomplished that goal. I'm not being hassled about that, and that's something that I can actually say I've accomplished. And then I can focus and redesign my thinking in another place. And it's empowered you to say, yes, it's on its way and I have it. And that's the power of association. And you created that breakthrough from that breakdown. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it. And I'm glad that brought some awareness to it just highlighted what you're already doing. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
I can see a lot of people thinking. Come on, ladies, share.
This is Regina. I just thought the whole presentation was just awesome. I was sitting here writing down everything I could write down. I was taking notes like crazy because I was getting ready, and I looked in the mirror at myself, and I had a thought that was just, to me, was just a negative thought. And I turned from the mirror to do something, and I turned back and I said, no, stop. You will not continue to keep listening to the lies. You will not do that anymore after today. When the lie presents itself, you will take the truth to that. Like you said, cancel. And I just felt that so strong. Don't do that anymore, because they're thoughts and I don't even have to give it attention, but I'm thinking it because it comes back up when I look in the mirror and see something. And so I was so appreciative of you breaking this down. And I saw something that I'm going to take time and just sit with. I want to sit with that today. When you talked about your mom and the experience that you had with your mother, because my mom's been gone, I think 6 years now, but I do know for a fact that I can honestly say that when I lost my mom, even though I don't talk about it, even with my sisters and brothers, and I think I'm going to have to do that, a part of me just died. And I have never felt I came back to me since then. I just don't like that. I don't like that I don't feel that drive. I don't like that I don't feel that that fire that you were talking about, but when you told the story, it took me back. That's what happened. And I want to sit with that because I wrote down, focus on the strength and the power that she demonstrated to you, Regina, and bounce back from that, from this, and walk in that. Let that be the thing that fuel you, because she showed you multiple times the breakdowns and the breakthrough. You can do this. And I just so glad I listened in.
I'm glad that you're sharing, Regina. Thank you, beautiful. You look sharp over there. I'm looking at your hair and everything. You just, oh my goodness. So listen, sharing that because it's the truth, right? And, you know, I call it the club, and I hate that we're in that club. If anyone's lost a parent, you know, that club is just horrible. And you're right. A part of you do go, you know, like I just went all the way with my mom. I was like, okay, I'm just no good. And you have to give yourself grace and ease and be compassionate towards yourself and give yourself grace and ease. I was in the beginning, I was trying to, if I may just share this with you, right? That I was trying to do what other people wanted me to do, Regina and everyone, ladies. I was trying to still be the maximizing your magnificence. And I didn't have no magnificence to be. I was like, this is, I ain't got time, but I can't maximize your magnificence. I ain't got none. That was how I was talking. I wasn't prim and proper. I was like, I don't have it. My mother is left this earth. I'm done. And so I didn't have grace at the time or ease or compassion towards myself, but I knew that I just was where I was, but I was still trying to be what others wanted me to be. It was when I stopped trying to do that where I just began to sit and be with it and let it happen on its own. I was still trying to say, you know, my messaging and still be that coach and that bubbly person, but I wasn't that. And so I had to surrender. So surrender is great. Surrender is absolutely perfect. But now, when you're looking at yourself, you say, well, I'm still here.
Yes.
And you know, I don't even have to know your mother to know. Your mother told you that you better stop that. You better go on out there and let that light shine, right? So, and I know that. I know your mother would be saying that, Regina, now wait a minute. Now wait a minute. And so I had to start hearing that too with my mom. Now, Deshawn, now, come on. The first thing I had to do was release my mom's clothes. And I hadn't done it for 3 years. And I heard my mom say that, Deshawn, you know, I bless people. Now go on and bless them. Like, can you bless some women with my clothes, please? Can you stop? I'm not in those clothes. He said, I'm not in those clothes. And I called my girlfriends over, just a small group. And we did I'm very ceremonial, and, they were with me the whole day, and we just made a very beautiful ceremonial, process of it. But my mom said, she let me know by speaking to my heart when it was time to let things be as they were and to create the new platform. And I knew that she was supporting me in that. And that's the legacy. My brothers and I have started the Legacy Project. And it's in memories of my mother. It's called the Legacy Project, my two brothers and I. And so we talk about healing and wholeness through that project and what that looked like for all of us. And I wasn't intending on doing that, Regina. I had no idea I was ever going to do that. So sit and see, as you're saying, what is going to be your healing process, right? What would that look like for you?
Okay.
Yeah, it may not just be in and I love hearing that you said this, maybe, let's turn that maybe into a yes. When you said, I heard you said, maybe I should talk to my siblings. I believe that you should. I think I support that. I believe that you should. I heard when you said that. That's a starting. Yeah, that's a strong place to start that healing for all of you. Yeah. Yeah. And then see what happens, where you're being led.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to offer that.
Thank you.
Sharing that, Regina. And back to what she just said as far as talking to your siblings, that's where that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 comes in. So just do that. The book of the month last month was the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. And so when you Just do that and then have that conversation. Make those calls to your sisters and to your family and have that conversation because they may be wanting and wishing and feeling the same thing. So if you read that book, that was one of the examples that they use as far as the conversations. Then the next thing I want to mention is that, Regina, I don't know what you see in the mirror that you walk away from, but I see a very, very beautiful, educated, determined, wise woman who's trying to start a business and is taking the steps and making the investment of time and money to make something happen for others. So that's what we see. We see this woman that's going to bring something forward, that's going to make a difference in her life and other people's lives. So see what we see. That's what I see.
Yes, I agree, Desiree. Yes, 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 yes.
You show up. You show up. There's a lot of women out there that are not showing up. So you show up. Whatever your motivation is, you show up all the time. And you put your best foot forward, and you're trying to. So for that, we support you. And that's what we see in the mirror.
It touches my heart.
Thank you. Wow.
Desiree.
Yeah.
It's Rosalind. I just wanted to add to Deshawn's platform, tying together some things you have mentioned in the past about one-liners. And everything she said is so beautiful, so wonderful. I can just see this being on a t-shirt, sweatshirt, cups. And I want to start with perfectly imperfect. Diamonds for your destiny. I just think that's just so, prolific of her to come up with that one. Get radical for you. Get magnificent. Maximize your life. Breakdowns happen. Life isn't happening to you, but for us. Stretch yourself. Blow your own mind. That's great. Never talk yourself out of anything. I'll turn my. So much. This was an excellent talk, and I'm going to have you in one of my podcasts.
I want to see you.
I know. I'm working. You said to work with that camera. Come on camera, Rosalind.
I just clicked it on. I'm not on there.
Yeah, we see you now. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good. Listen, you got me trying to write down all my stuff. I got to get these products that you got me over here ready to sell. Rosalind, I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't write that down.
Put your information in the chat, everybody. Make sure you put your information in the chat.
You didn't gave me all these products.
Well, see, Rosalind's business. Rosalind is on a 60-day mission.
Absolutely.
And we all know that Rosalind's on a 60-day assignment, Rosalind. So she can't do anything else but sell insurance for 60 days. But give her the information and you guys can connect. I'm listening, I'm watching you. But share the information, ladies, and anyone share your information. Deshawn, make sure you share yours as well. But her easiest, her is DeshawnBooker.com. Right? So, and it's actually on the Coffee and Conversation. The invitation that you got, if you click it, the links to her website. So you'll be able to learn more and find more from that.
Rosalind, you were saying you have a show?
No, I'm just going to be doing podcasts. And I was just saying how uplifting and wonderful all these insightful things you said are coming across and will really help people to move forward with their life.
Yes, thank you.
And past and present experiences, all of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Malika Tanvi, do you want to have you share anything before we close? Malika Tanvi. Malika's coming for us.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I guess the thing that really resonated with me was become an advocate for myself. I don't think I often show up for myself like I should. And then also about the life not happening to me, but happening for me. I think I tend to take the negative perception of life oftentimes and not really think about that. I think that kind of makes me self-absorbed in a way. And then I kind of just shut down and, shut out those people that, could be helping me because life, I have that thought that life is happening to me when that's not necessarily the reason, when I should be, looking for those positives, or why is this happening, or, how does this move me forward in life? So Deshawn, I do thank you as well, because I was taking notes on everything you were saying. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm glad that that was a breakthrough for you, a moment to realize, that, yeah, being that advocate for yourself, it even takes guts to just say, I'm going to be an advocate for myself, and just make sure that you tell yourself that there's a reason why you're being an advocate for you, because if you're not an advocate first, then it's hard for others to follow and to invest in you and in that, not just for your product or your services or businesses, but just in your self-worth. So when you're seeing that your self-worth matters to you because you're on this earth, first of all, and you have something to offer, that's enough. That's enough right there, that you're even breathing and you're alive and you're of sound mind. And so there's where your self-worth is and your self-value. And just remember to, and I'm sure just tell yourself that consistently until you believe it. You heard me say, if you were on the call, I was often saying, and I mean it, I'm my first client. Like, I really have to buy into what I believe. And so become your first buy-in client, become your first consumer, become your advocate, because you matter most. And right, life appears to be happening to us, but it's happening for us to be able to adapt and move to that next level. And I'm glad that you even shared. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Malika, because that's a thought that many people have. And I think that one thing is, again, the same thing. When things happen, think about, okay, could be a negative. What's the positive in it? It's not all the things are going to happen to all of us. Okay, good, bad, and indifferent. It's going to happen to all of us. It's how we absorb it, how we embrace it, how we let it get into our system. Do we just let it go through this way, or do we let it sink in to our mind, to our mindset subconsciously, and let it create? So you have that control of turning that light switch on or off. You can say, okay, this is what happened. Maybe you don't understand it. Maybe you will never understand some of the things that happens to us. But maybe you don't need to understand. All you need to understand is that you're still here, as LaShawn said, of sound mind. You're still beautiful. You're still young, and you still have life to go. And just move it forward. Just move it forward. Sometimes you will not understand things and why it happens and where it happens. And that's okay. You don't have to understand everything, but you have to understand what works for you and what you want for your life and what's in your mind. And that's what you can control. You can't control the outside. You can't control, you never will be able to. So that is unrealistic for us to think that we can control and have this perfect life, but you can control how you interpret it and how you let it affect the rest of your life.
Yes.
That if you're going to give it a day, if something is bad, you can give it a day. You can give it a week, you can give it a month, but you're deciding how long you give it. Like I have I totally respect and I totally honor everybody's time of grieving, but I don't give myself that time of that luxury. I give my mother, my father passed. I gave myself a couple of days because instead of me grieving their loss, I was celebrating their life.
Okay. Yeah.
That's how I said that. For me to stop anything, even if my child or my children or my partner, if someone passed, my idea is that, okay, yes, they're gone. We knew that was going to happen. That's inevitable. And the way it happens does make a difference as far as how it impacts us. So that does make a difference. No surprise, whatever. But it is inevitable. We're not, we're here dying to live, but we're only living to die. So that is something realistic. We can't change that, but how I interpret that. So yes, I may feel sad, and people commented, people gave me some backlash about, they thought that I didn't mourn, or I wasn't my mother's loss because we were very, very close long enough. It's like, no, why am I going to mourn her loss? She's not here. I know she's not here. Yes, I miss her. There are definitely moments where I think miss her. When you were talking about yours, I teared up as well. But it has so much, she gave me so many years of life. She gave me so many good memories. So she gave me so much of me is her. I have that to carry on, and I know that's what she would have wanted. So we do have, whether it's the loss of life or whether it's the loss of a business, whether it's the loss of anything, we do have the control of how much we're going to give to that loss and how much we can take from that loss and the good out of it and go forward. So, you determine the time that you want to spend for anything. Again, on your business, on anything, anything negative. We've had a lot of negative experiences. You decide, okay, I'm going to give this hurts. This really, really, really hurts. And it really is making a difference. So I'm going to give it a day or 2 days. Give it a budget. I budget the time. I'm going to this time, I'm going to Netflix binge and I'm going to do whatever, and then I'm done. And then whatever that time is, I get a shower, clean up, go out and do something, and I'm done. Done. Because I can't carry that baggage with me going forward. If we carried every piece of baggage with us, I use this analogy that you're going up imagine you're going up a flight of steps. And I'm going to carry all the bags, all the bad things with me up to a flight of steps. And then I'm going to get more on that landing, and I'm going to carry more and carry more. That's going to be too much. You can't take it. So I said, carry this baggage. When I get to a landing, lighten my load.
Yeah.
And then I go up to the next flight with this baggage. I get to another landing, lighten my load, let it go. And just keep going. So you decide what landing. Your landing can be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be your birthday, it could be whatever it is. Decide then what you're going to lighten your load with, leave it behind, can't carry it all the way up. And then go up. That way you're light, that way you're free, that way you're open, and you're able to take advantage of the good gifts that are coming from you.
Good stuff. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I want to add on that because I not only lighten my load of negativity, I lighten my load of those who don't support me, believe in me, give me their fears. I don't connect with them. I disconnect. And it could be family, it could be friends, it could be, everything has a reason and a season, as they say. So I just move on. I believe in what I do. And if it's not for you, that's okay. It doesn't have to be for everyone.
I love that.
I do it not to perfection, because I believe perfection keeps you from moving forward.
Yeah. So thank you.
I really enjoyed your talk.
Thank you, ladies. I'm so glad you joined us. We've gone way over time, but it was a good conversation. No, we're good. It's at 10:30. Yeah, perfect. We have 3 more minutes, but in any event, I want to thank you for sharing. I think again, we've worked a lot together, the ladies and I, and it's just every now and again, it's good to mix it up, and I'm glad people got a lot out of it.
Yes, me too. Thank you again, Desiree, for having me. And thank you, ladies, for staying and just allowing, for me to offer to you, my insight. And it's just my desire that we all continue to live our lives as magnified as possible and be fulfilled in that. So thank you again, and have a wonderful rest of your week. And I hope to hear from you. I did, get your information. And so I'm looking forward to hearing from you, those of you that want to connect. Absolutely. And thank you again. I appreciate it. It's nothing like being in the space of empowered women.
Yes. That's exactly where you are. You're in the right place.
Everybody save the chat.
Yes. Okay, save the chats.
Oh yeah, that's sweet. Does it let you do it if you're not? Oh, there we go, right there. Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, ladies. Yes. Is that someone's voice coming through? Something. Okay, so ladies, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And until we meet again, be well.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ray.